Okay. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our Monday night team call. I just wanted to give a little shout out to all of those people in the month of June that moved their business forward. We had 36 people this month with Success Club points on the board. So that was by far, I think, the biggest month yet. So congratulations to everybody. We have a fantastic guest on our call tonight. He is the former East Regional Sales Director, and now I don't even know what your title is now. You're the trainer, and we call him the Coach Whisperer. He is a fantastic mentor to so many of us in the 5-star wall. Mr. Cim Carver.
I love those things on her ears.
Oh, we have a little visitor.
We have a little visitor. I don't know who that was, but now they're muted.
It's okay. It was cute. Whoever it was cute.
It was cute. So I will turn it over to you.
All right.
Go ahead and take it
So
over.
everyone, it's nice to be here tonight. I appreciate everyone taking the opportunity to jump on the call. I think you guys do this every week, so it's a pleasure for me to intrude and chat with you a little bit. I've had the pleasure of getting to know Brianne and working with her a little bit over the past several months, and talking about a lot of you. So now it's fun to see some faces to go with some of the names that I've been hearing about. All good things, you guys, all good things. And so, but I'm grateful for the opportunity to chat with you guys a little bit tonight. And these calls are always interesting for me to do, because it puts yourself in a situation where you're saying, okay, well, I want to figure out a way that I can add value to the people that are listening on the call. That's the goal, is that we come out of this call in what better prepared, or I guess better with a better mindset of what it will take to help more people with our coaching business, because that's what this is all about. And that's what yields growth. That's what yields development. And in my experience, I've been doing this for a little while. In my experience, the tendency among coaches sometimes is to complicate what we do. We often try to reinvent the wheel, or we think it's more complex than it really is. Our business is not complex. It's not easy, but it's not complex. Okay, our business really is really centered around people, like I said. And when I work with coaches, my philosophy, the way that I approach things is really simple. First and foremost, we talk about belief. Second thing we talk about is consistency. And the third thing we talk about is focus. And after those three things, then we'll talk about the tactics, how to more effectively invite, how to do these other things. And the reason why, in my experience, is 99% of the reason why, 99% of the thing that stops people are belief, consistency, and focus. Okay. Everything else seems to take care of itself if you can do those things. I have known people who have made millions and millions of dollars in this type of business who are the worst inviters you've ever met. Meaning they didn't follow any 5-step program or anything like that. All they did was just talk to people, right? The thing is they were very consistent. They believed in themselves, and they were very good at focusing their energy and efforts. And so when I get on these calls, the tendency is always like, okay, well, what do we want to talk about? How could we add value to this? And so tonight, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to go on those 3 basic points, because I think somewhere in that, hopefully there will be something that I'll share with you that will help each one of you in some way, no matter what stage of the business that you're at. Now, your responsibility on this call is to not be just a passive listener. You're going to get out of this call what you put into it. And so as you have those moments, those little flashes that come into your mind, your responsibility is then to write those down. Your responsibility is then after the call, the ideas that you've had, to put those things into motion, whatever that takes. Create a game plan, share it with Brianne, share it with somebody, so you can kind of let those small little ideas germinate and start to grow into something that will move your business forward. If you'll do that, if you'll take that approach, these type of things, whether it's with someone from corporate or with Brianne or whatever, these little moments will be the ones that will slowly but surely start shaping your business and shaping what you're doing as a coach. And so let's start with that. Okay. First of all, this concept, right? It's not easy, but it's not complicated. So let's think for just a second. I want everyone on the call just to think for just a second. I want you to think about the last, what are we on, Monday? Think about last week. Let's think about some of the things that we did last week as a coach for Team Beachbody. Think about your challenge groups. Think about the invitations that you made. Think about the invitations you didn't make but wanted to make. Okay. Think about the good intentions you had but maybe didn't quite turn into things. Think about some of the wins. What were some of the things that worked for you? Take just a second and put that in your mind. And think about what that looks like, okay, or what your business kind of looked like for you last week. With that in your mind, now let's start having this conversation. First thing I want to talk about, like I told you, when I work with coaches, we talk a lot about belief. And I don't do it because it's the warm, fuzzy, leadership-y thing that we can all do to hug each other and feel good about each other. I think that has a place. I'm talking about belief from the standpoint of understanding who you are, how you see the world, so you can then leverage that to help you to achieve things, to succeed. All right. All of us want to succeed. All of us want to be successful. But oftentimes the thing that unlocks that for us is if we actually believe that we're deserving, believe that we can actually achieve it. And a lot of us will put these layers on ourselves where we won't let that happen. Okay. Being aware of that is important because it influences how we act. Okay. So I want you to just think, well, how is your belief? Okay? Do you believe that you can be successful as a coach? And I don't have the answer that I want to hear. But I want you to look at yourself and say, okay, do I really believe that I can be successful? Do I think that I can be like Brianne? Do I think I can be like some of those coaches I see from time to time, right? That maybe I'm comparing myself to, even though you shouldn't, but you are. Okay. Do I really think that I can do that? And do I believe, okay, that I'm deserving of that? And the reason why that question, those two questions are so important for me when I'm mentoring people is because you have to constantly revisit that in your mind and engage with those same questions, because that's what unlocks a lot of the other pieces in your business, the things that you have to do. It starts with those answers to those questions. So when you think about those things, think about this. Do I have the courage to have faith in myself? Okay. There's areas where you're strong. And let me tell you what that looks like. Okay. There's areas that you bring that are strong for you. Okay. It might be in connecting with people. It might be, you're a strong person of integrity. Your whatever strengths happen to be. Being aware of what those are allows you to then begin to build faith in yourself, belief in yourself, by harnessing those areas, by playing to those strengths. Your instincts when you're new is to feel like you don't know anything and to feel like you're incapable. Thing gets put aside and start to focus on where we lack. We start playing to our weaknesses, which doesn't make sense. So what are your strengths? Ask yourself things. When I when I do something, it makes me feel good. I feel strong. That's a strength, right? When I teach people, when I help people, it makes me feel good. That's a strength. When I'm put in a position where I can, give a solution to a problem, I feel good. It's a strength. Okay. Play to these strengths. I'm good at connecting with people. I'm really good at helping people see, the better part. Play to those strengths. Okay. All of this has to do with belief. Okay. Let's not dwell where we're weak, I guess. So, okay, enough of the fluffy stuff here. Let's get some actionable pieces out of this belief thing then, because I know Brianne doesn't like the fluffy stuff, so I want to make sure I don't hit the fluffy stuff for you. Okay. We'll get to the action items here. So how does this start to look like? One of the biggest manifestations of belief are goals, because you don't set goals without having some inkling, at least, of belief that you can achieve them. And so the one of the best ways to start instilling belief in yourself is to start building goals and getting in the habit of setting and achieving goals. Now, let me explain what I mean by goals. I'm going to keep this real simple for you. All right. I want to know, what are your 2 to 3 goals that you're going to achieve in the next 6 to 8 weeks? It's that simple. What are the 2 to 3 things? And the reason why I don't want you to go to 4 to 5 to 6 to 8, because then it's like so many goals, you don't know what's going on. Give me something that's 2 to 3. Maybe 2 is ideal, because if you can get 2 goals and those 2 goals will kind of push everything else, then drill it down to those 2 goals. Maybe it's to hit Success Club for 2 months, these 2 months. Maybe it's to run, to have at least a certain number of people in your challenge groups. But identify what those 2 goals are and do it in 6 to 8 week increments. And the reason why that 6 to 8 weeks is important is because it's a long enough time where you're going to have to engage in it consistently in the behaviors to get that goal, to build habits. but it's not so far away that your actions of today don't clearly have a tie into the goal that you're trying to achieve. Remember, the goal in this is to elevate our belief in ourselves, and we do that by setting goals and then creating habits where we set goals and achieve goals, set goals and achieve goals. And when we do that, we start to believe more in ourselves because we see ourselves as winning. And we create a culture of winning. And these small wins that we give ourselves that aren't going to appear on our Facebook pages, they're not going to get recognized by the company. These are these small wins that most of the time only you and maybe Brianne or one other person might know about. But these are the foundational pieces of building a winning culture on your team. And as seeing yourself as successful, all these things which impact belief. Okay? Second point is consistency. So the first takeaway, belief, we talked a little bit about that. Actually, you know what, before I go into this, I'm going to share a story with you real quick if I can. So in terms of belief, let me talk about the power of this. There was a study that actually shared this. I don't know if it's at the New Leader Conference or they share, but Michael actually shared this experience. But there was this study that a university was doing in California where they took a box of rats, a bunch of rats, right? And they divided them actually into two boxes. And one box they labeled smart rats. And one box they labeled dumb rats, okay? And there was no difference between these boxes. Right? They were one where they just divided them up randomly. And they brought in some students. And they said, all right, here's this maze. Now, what we want to measure is how quickly these rats can go through this maze and how much they learn, right? If they'll go through it one time, will they learn how to do it? And if they go through 3 or 4 times, will they get faster and faster each time they go through the maze? And they told these students, look, we've tested the IQ of rats. Now, I don't know what kind of students they were to believe that you could actually test IQ of rats, but they believed them. They said, we've tested the IQ of these rats. Here are the smart ones, and here are the dumb ones, okay? And then they watched how these students interacted with these rats. And what do you think happened? Well, the smart rats, they gave a lot of attention to and time to because they saw these rats as the smart rats. And as a consequence, these rats learned how to get through the maze quicker. And the dumb rats, they're kind of like, oh, these are dumb rats, right? And they just didn't really pay attention too much, and they didn't learn to go through the maze as quick as the smart rats were, okay? Belief, it shapes how we act. It shapes how we treat ourselves and how we treat each other. The second point then, I'm going now is consistency. Here's the point of consistency, all right? Trust isn't built if we're inconsistent, okay? We're in a people business, we're a relationship business where trust is kind of the currency that we work in. And trust isn't built if we're not consistent. Inconsistency also can breed seeds of doubt in our mind, and we start to lose credibility with ourselves, right? We start to really lose a belief in ourselves. Now, what consistency doesn't mean is 90 hours a week. Okay, look, you have families, you have work, you have other obligations. But what it does mean is that you show up for your business every day in whatever way that you can do it, okay? Whatever that time is you can allocate to it, that you allocate that time and that you're consistently engaged in showing up for your business every single day. And furthermore, when you show up for your business, that time has that time you're there has purpose, okay? So get down from the theory fluffy stuff that Brianne hates. We'll get down to the application. The power. I'm just kidding, Brianne. I know you hate it, but I know you like the concrete stuff a lot better.
I do.
This is where we get in now the power of 3. Okay, so we know we need to be consistent. We know life's going to get in the way. So what do we need to do? We need to know exactly the things that we need to be engaged in to help get the goals. Right? We just talked about belief. We know that's important. So what are the things that we need to do to help hit our goals? Do you know what those things are? Okay. So we talk about now people here, you hear 4 hour, right? Where you set aside an hour sometime in your day when you just focus on working your Beachbody business, right? Whatever that hour is, you set it, you decide. It might change from day to day based on the needs of your schedule, but you sit down and that has a purpose. What does that purpose happen to be? Well, a lot of people will do a power of 3, which I actually like, right? They'll do 3 invites or make 3 new contacts, make 3 new connections where you basically kind of invite people to your, to connect with you somehow, whether it's on your like page or on your personal page. You invite 3 customers to a challenge group and you invite, 3 people to coaching. You kind of start those follow-ups. Whatever that plan happens to be for you. And I'll let Brianne set that out for you because this is the team. You guys decide. It's not my place to say that. But the point is that during that power hour, we know the things that we need to be doing. Okay. You will not be able to be consistent by shooting from the hip every day. Your consistency will wither and die as your willpower starts to get overwhelmed by life. So you've got to have a plan. And that plan does not have to be complicated. It can be literally every day I'm going to do 3 invites or 3 this or 3, and that's just what I'm going to do every day. I'm going to find 1 hour to do it every single day. And it sounds cheap, but I promise you guys, that simple principle has changed businesses, okay? A key part of this that will help you is accountability. Accountability is how we turn good intentions into the discipline to create habits for ourselves. So accountability, all right? The last point, so we got belief. We talked about goal setting, okay? 2 to 3 goals in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We talked about consistency, the idea of using a power hour, the power of 3, okay? Some of these concepts, these basically taking our making sure that we're engaging, showing up every day for our business. And the third point is focus, right? Aligning actions to outcomes. That's one of the biggest things that I will work with coaches on all the time. Okay, can't always be talking about belief and stuff. At some point, we're good there. But I talk all the time with coaches about focus, and from the standpoint of aligning our actions to what we want to do, recognizing that there's things in our control in our business and things that aren't in our control in our business. And as crazy as the things out of our control can drive us, because we want to control everything, you can't. So stop trying. Okay, stop trying. Just distracting. You focus at controllable activities that we just talked about that can drive you towards your goals. Okay. What I would do if I were you, again, is my goals, my power. I have these 3 to 5, 5 to 9 activities that I do that I can control, that I engage in on a daily basis. And those that I do on. And honestly, you guys, whenever I talk with coaches, those are the 3 things that I go back to time and time again, because again, 99% of the time, that's where the problem is. Okay. That's where when we get off center, we've usually lost a little bit of belief in ourselves. We've maybe lost a little bit of our consistency. We're not engaged as much as we should. The focus is gone. Now, one of the reasons why I'm bringing this up is I know we talk a lot about diamond. I know we've got some diamonds on here. We've got some people shooting for diamond. We've got people trying to help people build diamonds. One of the things that I think is great about diamond is that it's a really clear marker that we've established in the culture of our company. One of the things that I hate about diamond is that we put so much time and attention on it that a lot of times our coaches get to diamond and they feel like they've crossed the finish line. Your business has so much more potential, okay, than diamond. Diamond's a milestone. Diamond's a starting line in my mind, okay? But all of the things that I just talked about, if you'll work on them or if you'll help your coaches work on them, then we'd only not just hit diamond, right? But we prepare ourselves to continue moving forward. We prepare ourselves to continue helping more people to develop other leaders, right? And this is a difficult thing to do. These things I talk about are key to helping diamonds or people becoming diamonds develop a business owner mindset. And to me, when I look at, you name me any coach that's received any kind of recognition, and I'll show you a coach who's learned to think like a business owner. And what I mean by that is this. There's, in my mind, there are kind of 2 camps, if you want to simplify them for the example. There's people who think like business owners and people like employees. And all our life, we're really taught to think like employees. School teaches to think like employees. We're trained to work as employees. It's just ingrained in our head. There's structure, there's focus, there's reporting, there's accountability, there's time management. You're going to be hungry at noon and not hungry at 1. I mean, they structure everything right there. So we're very conditioned to be employees. Who's the boss? What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to make that guy happy. Do what that person does. And we're very have those structures, and we're very comfortable functioning in those structures. Here's the deal, though. None of you guys became coaches to be employees. Okay, you became coaches to be business owners. And business owners have to think a little bit differently. And there's a mind pivot that takes place when you start to think like a business owner. Now, instead of the problem being out there, we don't wait for permission to do our business. We don't wait for someone to tell us, well, I don't know where this is. You don't wait for someone to tell you, you go find it, right? And you know, when you can think about employees, how they handle obstacles, right? An employee mindset takes an obstacle and it's someone else's fault. Well, when someone else fixes that, I'll be able to take care of that. Or I couldn't do that because of so-and-so. That's how obstacles. Business owners, they don't think that way, right? If there's an obstacle, I'm going to figure out a solution. I'm going to stick with it until I figure out what a solution is. They view the process of learning and failing as part of the price they have to pay to get better. Okay. Employees also take, I would say, how do I say it? Pushback, or what I'm looking for. It's not obstacles. It's objections. There you go. Objections. It's a different way, right? Objections shut employees down. The first whiff of pushback shuts them down. A business owner, they hear it, but they're committed enough to what they're doing that they just figure out a way to kind of keep going. Yeah, they figure out a way to keep pushing through. And the last one is success. How do they handle success? Well, employees look at success. Success is kind of momentary in the moment, right? They celebrate it, they see kind of fleeting, and then there it's gone. Whereas business owners look at success and they try to figure out how to leverage it to turn into more success. Now, why do I tell you all of this? Okay, because there's a question that I want you guys to be thinking about. I told you at the beginning of the call to think about what you did last week in your business, to think about what that was. And then I listed out some key things: belief. How were your actions last week a reflection of what the belief level that you have right now on yourself and your abilities as a coach, things like that? Do we know what our goals are? Do we have clearly defined goals for the next 6 to 8 weeks? Okay. Have we identified the consistency piece of it, where we know exactly what we need to do on a daily basis so that we show up for our business every single day with a purpose? And the last piece is then think about things you did last week, and then think about in terms of focus. Were they aligned? Were they controllable activities aligned to your outcomes? And why does all that matter? Well, it matters is because we're trying to teach ourselves how to think like business owners. When we think like business owners, then we're able to actually help other people start to think like business owners. And when we have that, now we've got what it takes to create an army of people that can reach the millions of people who need us, okay, the customers who need us, because we have independent, strong people. Now, it doesn't happen overnight, but we build that army of people. And then obviously the benefits to your business are huge. The benefits to your commissions and your cycle bonus and all the things are massive. When you have an army of people that are thinking like business owners because you've trained them to think like business owners and they're out there doing it, it's an amazing thing for your commissions. But I would say even more than that is it helps us fulfill our mission as a company, which is to help people achieve their goals and live healthy, fulfilling lives. We help people and families and individuals make meaningful changes in their lives. And to be honest with you guys, I can't think of a more important thing to be engaged in than that. And what a cool thing to be able to do that and earn a great income for ourselves at the same time. So anyway, that's the reason why we say that. Now, I'm going to share, if I can, just one quick story in closing to put this all together. When I was younger, I played baseball. Baseball was my thing. I was a really shy kid. I was introverted, quiet, didn't talk much, which I know is hard to believe after these calls when I just yammer nonstop. But I didn't have a lot of friends, which probably isn't hard to believe. But I was pretty shy. But one thing I knew I could do was play baseball. And we moved from Arizona up to Utah when I was 13 years old. And we moved late in the season, so I kind of got a team, but it was on the other side, not on the side of the town where my high school that I would go to was. And so as a freshman, I went out to try out for the baseball team. And no one on that side of the knew who I was. And I made it all the way through to the final cuts, but I got cut on the last day. And I went home. And I was sitting at my kitchen table waiting for my dad to come home from work. And I was nervous to tell him that I'd been cut. And I was nervous that I had let him down. My dad was kind of my coach, my biggest cheerleader. I was hurt. I was frustrated, all these things. But a lot of it was I was really afraid that I had let my dad down. And I remember sitting there, hearing his car pull up into the driveway and just kind of getting that anxious, my heart got in my throat a little bit. And he walked in the front door and he saw me sitting at the kitchen table and he just said, he goes, "Hey, so how did tryouts go?" First thing out of his mouth. He was thinking about it too. And I said, "Dad, I got cut." He goes, "Huh, what happened?" I said, "I don't know. I got cut." And he goes, "So now what are we going to do?" And I was like, "Well, Dad, I don't know what cut meant in your generation, but in my generation, when you get cut, it's you're done, right?" And he said, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" And my dad was always really good about reminding me of the power of choice and that I I'm not defined by my situations. I'm defined how I respond to those situations, right? So he goes, so what are you going to do about it? And I said, well, I don't know, Dad. I've been cut. And he says, well, are you just going to give up then? Are you just done playing baseball? Not going to play baseball in high school? And I said, well, what am I supposed to do? And he said, and then he said something to me that I'll never forget. He said, Kim, in your life, there will always be someone who's smarter than you, who is better positioned than you, who has more things given to them than you, all this kind of stuff. My dad was a teacher. I didn't grow up with a lot of, connections, better connected than you, he said. And he says, work is the great equalizer. He goes, so if you're willing to put in the work, okay, if you're willing to put in the work, then you can achieve, you can earn the result. That idea of, are you willing to do what other people aren't willing to do, so you get things that other people aren't willing to get. And so after he said that, I said, well, he goes, well, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I said, I guess I can, after the team's done practicing, because they practiced the last hour of school. After the team's done practicing, I can use the batting cage. No one's there. I'm sure the coach would let me do that. So I went and asked the coach. He said, yeah, you can do that. So every day, we made a little plan, my dad and I would go in and I would hit 300 baseballs off the tee. I would hit 200 baseballs off the pitching machine. 500 pitches every single day that I would go hit every day after school. And my hands weren't used to this. I would do it in after the first 3 days, I had blisters that were bleeding on my hands and everything. And after about a month, those had all calcified into some really nasty calluses. No girls liked me, so it didn't really matter. I wasn't using my hands for anything important. And so it was really nasty calluses and stuff. But I was up there every single day. And I would wait till the team was done, and then I would hit, and 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 I would hit, I would hit, and then I'd hit some. Okay. Anyway, make a long story short, next year tryouts came around. I went out for the team again. And this time I made the cut, made the team, and I actually ended up starting on the varsity team 2 games into that year, and I lettered in varsity the next 3 years of my high school time. Now, the lesson I took away from that, first of all, was that work is the great equalizer. That I don't have to always be the smartest and the best, but if I'm consistent and if I'm engaged, if I'm focused, if I have a game plan, okay, 99% of the time, the things that I can't control are going to fall my way, okay? So those things that I just talked to you guys about, belief, consistency, focus, okay, those things. Another thing that I learned about that, okay, is that we have to be the ones to make that choice. I can't make it, Brianne can't make it, no one can make it. You're going to have moments in your business when you can make that choice, and you're the only one that can make it. So make it, okay? Make it. All right, you guys. Well, it's been a pleasure to chat with you tonight. I hope there's something of value in that verbal barrage that I just puked out everywhere, and hopefully there's something in there for you. I'm happy to stay online and answer any questions. If you'd like, Brianne, or whatever, I'm good.
Yeah, let me open it up and see. Let me put this to the gallery. We have so many on. So if you guys have me on, just raise your hand if you guys have a question, and I can pull you off of mute.
This is always that awkward pause.
This is the awkward pause, and nobody wants to answer nobody wants to ask anything. Anybody? We have a lot on the phone too. Okay, let's see. Anybody? No. That means I either did a really good job or a really bad job. I think it was great. I think it was
left up in the air a little bit.
No, I think it was fantastic, and I do say that a lot. This business isn't always easy, but it's always simple. And I think if we remember that it's simple behaviors, it makes everything a lot easier for us.
And it's a little formulaic, honestly. When you've seen it, I know sometimes when you sit where you sit, it's hard to see that. And I tell this to Brianne from time to time, but I've been fortunate to see this happen a lot of times. And so there is a process that everyone has to go through. And those 3 things I told you guys are what keeps people from going through that process. And so as much as you get caught up in trying to be good at inviting and doing all those things, also make sure you're aware of those other pieces as well, because that's what tends to trip people up more than anything else. Absolutely.
Kim, thank you so much for taking the time tonight. I know you're home, and thank your lovely wife for giving you up for a half an hour to
My
come and
kids are
talk to us.
whispering at me through the bedroom door. Daddy! Because they know I'm on a call, so they don't want to interrupt me, so they're whispering loudly through the crack in my door. So
Just loud enough.
It's okay, though. That's okay.
All right. Well, thank you so
Thanks,
much for
guys.
taking the
Appreciate
time
your
tonight.
time.
I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next week.
Yes, you will.
All
See you
right.
guys.
Thanks
Bye-bye now.
again. Bye-bye, everybody.